Here's the paint color mixer that I built in order to more quickly decide what colors to paint on walls. I found that the tiny swatches in the paint stores were too difficult and they weren't very accurate to the colors. And there are some inaccuracies with this tool as well, but that is well explained in the instructions. And it's good to give this a read through. It talks about how even the paint swatches you get from the store have differences as compared to painting on walls. Walls have different textures, different surface finishes, they reflect differently. So anything other than actually painting a sample on a wall is going to have some inaccuracy. With that said, we have a pretty good tool to narrow down to one or two choices, and a couple of tips and tricks to make the printed samples more accurate. So up at the top we have a custom user interface. We can get rid of the instructions or put them back if we need them. The printable samples, you push the button at the top, the samples appear. Now for the color mixer itself, there's an option to mix two colors, color 1 and color 2. There are filter resets at the top, so if I hit this, it's going to default basically to the top color in the list. And just for an example, here is a color that we had for our house, shaded white. It looked great on the color swatches from the store, but when we painted it on the wall, it looked way too dark. So for example, this is an unmixed shaded white. It looks kind of like a light tan, but it comes out a lot darker when you paint it. So we wanted to lighten it up. We had already bought the paint, and we had some ceiling paint, which was extra white, which is a pretty pure color. So if we go into the color 2 and do a search for extra on the text filter search, it pulls up extra white, and we're going to mix at a ratio of 50-50. We could change it, but we're going to go with 50-50 mix. That gives us this mixed color here. So if I go to the printable swatch page and then cycle back and forth to color 1, which is unmixed and mixed, you can see it lightened it up quite a bit. And I actually have a picture of this in the Etsy examples. Now, since the printed colors on white paper from a computer printer are not quite the same as printing on a wall, I find that they come out a tad bit darker. At least the lighter colors come out a tad bit darker. That's what the print lightness correction factors are for. So if I wanted to apply that factor to the mixed color, push this button at the top and you can see it lightens it up, and this comes out to nearly a perfect match as for this color. This is an experimental feature. I don't fully understand it with the darker colors. I find the darker colors are more accurate to the color, but at least for the lighter colors I find it helps. In any case, the color itself is going to be pretty true. You can tell if you like the color. It's just that it may look a little darker or lighter when you actually paint it on the wall. So the tool helps you to mix colors or to pick colors. You can print non-mixed standard colors. Like say if I wanted a blue or something with a hue of 231, I'll narrow the bandwidth and then increase the saturation filter. I should get all the blues. There are a lot of blues and purples and things in this area of the hue that aren't named blue. So if you filter by hue, you can find colors you like and then go and print that sample and print lots of them. Since it's your printer, your paper, print lots of colors and decide upon which ones you like, and at that point you can mix. If it's not quite right, you can see I still have the extra white in here, and it does lighten it quite a bit. or you can just print the standards. There is a color swatch page where you can look at all the colors in one place. So there's that option as well. And there's also an option to go to the advanced settings. This will bring the background data up, and I would only mess with this if you know Excel pretty well. But yeah, this database I pulled off of online sources. There's no guarantee that they're accurate. I tried to make them accurate, but I would always double check the colors on the mixer. It'll tell you the RGB. You can verify that online. But if there's a color that's missing, you want to create a color, you can add it to this database if you know your way around Excel. So I left this tag so that you can unlock and edit the sheet as you wish. And that is how to use the color mixer. One additional thing. If you mix the color and decide you like the color but don't want to mix all your paint for an entire room, you can find the closest color match. So here I have a pretty wide set filter. I'll go and reset clear filter 3 up here. It's going to tighten the options quite a bit, and numerically or mathematically it's looking for the closest matches. So we can cycle through these and find out which ones are the closest, or we can further narrow the color filters. And this is to find existing industry standard or colors. They have a few that were pretty close. Some mixtures have more matches than others. Like for this case, I increased the ratio, gave me a whole different set. So this was pretty close. Yeah, blue opal looks pretty good. There are some duplicate names. These are from different sources. Some of the color names might have been different, so I just left them in there. And that's how the two works.